And while those students wait, can you give us a commitment that you are not going to collect that debt?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that, as to what the situation is. And
I don't understand how that's a difficult question to say yes to. They've been defrauded. They are waiting for relief. While they wait for their relief,
Well, if
they shouldn't have to pay back that debt.
well, if they've been defrauded and it's been adjudicated that they've been defrauded, then I will get back to you as to what the time frame is and why there's a holdup if there is.
Okay.
I'm not sure as I sit here right now.
Well, you knew this was coming. Ilhan Omar marched in ready to play judge, jury, and moral authority, and somehow ended up tripping over her own talking points. Watching a Democrat lecture anyone about fraud is like watching a pickpocket teach a class on honesty. The tension in that room was unreal, and Linda McMahon didn't even have to raise her voice to expose it. If you want to see a political ambush backfire in real time, hit like, subscribe, and buckle up. Let's watch the full clip before I give you the full breakdown.
The gentleman, I recognize now the gentlelady from Minnesota, Ms. Omar.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Madam Secretary, for being here with us. Is it fair to assume that you are aware that when a student loan borrower is defrauded by a school, that there is a provision in law called the borrower defense?
Yes, I am.
Okay. It is a straightforward concept. A student should not be forced to repay loans to schools that lied to them. We know that millions of federal grants and loans go out the door while students are left with education that is not worthy. So I was actually surprised a few weeks ago when your department quietly rescinded $37 million fine that was placed against Grand Canyon University. Can you explain why that happened?
Let me think for a second. Let me review my notes on that because there were a couple of things I wanted to make sure I covered with you. We really found that the accusations against Grand Canyon, which is a faith-based organization, and we looked at all the facts of the case.
I am familiar with the university.
Really,
my question is, how are those students going to be made whole if you are not allowing the university to pay the fines? What's the plan?
I'm not sure that that's the right analysis of it, but I will look into it further and get back to you.
And you'll give me back a writing?
Yes, I will.
Writing? Okay. Because we know that, you know, the president in whom you serve had a fraudulent university called Trump University, and he himself settled 3 lawsuits before becoming president. We know that there are roughly 1.4 million borrowers who have been approved for a borrower defense discharge and are still waiting for that process. How are you clearing out that backlog?
In terms of the borrowed defense funds?
Uh-huh.
There are lists of that. I'll be happy to get back to you with those numbers.
Okay. And while those students wait, can you give us a commitment that you are not going to collect that debt?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that, as to what the situation is. And
I don't understand how that's a difficult question to say yes to. They've been defrauded. They are waiting for relief. While they wait for their relief,
Well, if
they shouldn't have to pay back that debt.
well, if they've been defrauded and it's been adjudicated that they've been defrauded, then I will get back to you as to what the time frame is and why there's a holdup if there is.
Okay.
I'm not sure as I sit here right now.
Wonderful. There was, I know that you've been questioned a lot on IDEA and its funding. I won't relitigate those questions. I just have 2 particular questions to address, or 2 areas to address. We know that the IDEA, that you have gotten rid of the legal team that guides the states in implementation. How are you going to rectify that?
I don't know what you mean by we've gotten rid of the legal team. We have had some reduction in force of
There was a
members.
firing of the entire legal team.
Well, we have other lawyers in place at the Department of Education, and we are
The
fully...
entire
we are
team
full-
that
that's-
was for IDEA has been fired. So how are you addressing that?
Because we have other lawyers who are in place that can handle those things. And as I mentioned before, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements.
Well, I do believe that that firing hurts the implementation. We also know that you have gutted the Office of Civil Rights when there is already investigation backlog. How are you going to fix the discrimination claim cases that are out there?
Well, there are, excuse me, there are cases that we're looking into. And again, we have not missed any of our statutory requirements in terms of OCR. We also have a task force.
There is a backlog. There are a lot of
There is a backlog
There are a lot of
because we
kids in our schools that are waiting for relief. When you get rid of the people that are supposed to carry out those investigations, how are you to assure that those kids will not continue to be harmed? We are talking about so many situations in where kids are being discriminated against, and you got rid of the people that investigate those investigations so those kids can protect themselves from from discrimination.
Well, we still have a very strong and capable staff in OCR. At the
Then
Department
you
of
wouldn't have a
Education.
backlog if that was the case. There is a current backlog, and I would.
What you just watched was a masterclass in composure versus chaos. Linda McMahon did exactly what a serious cabinet official is supposed to do. She relied on evidence, due process, and the actual record. When Omar tried to corner her over Grand Canyon University, McMahon made it clear the department reviewed the facts and didn't find the case that the fine demanded. That's not favoritism, that's how law works. You don't punish a school, especially a faith-based one, because a politician wants a viral moment. And the hypocrisy from Omar was off the charts. She spent the entire time grandstanding about fraud and ethics while refusing to accept a basic answer. Investigations require evidence, not vibes. She demanded instant yes or no pledges on complicated legal questions as if the Department of Education runs on TikTok clips instead of statutes. That's not oversight, that's bullying dressed up as concern. McMahon stayed steady while Omar kept interrupting, changing subjects, and inflating every issue into a moral crisis. That's the left's favorite move. Create panic, skip the facts, and then act shocked when adults in the room won't play along. Meanwhile, McMahon kept reminding everyone that the department still has lawyers, still meets statutory requirements, and still handles civil rights claims even when the bureaucracy is being trimmed. That's called reform, not sabotage. This wasn't about protecting students. It was about scoring points. And McMahon didn't give Omar an inch. She defended due process, respected the rule of law, and refused to let a political ambush turn into policy. That's why Republicans looked serious here and the squad looked unserious. One side showed up to govern. The other showed up to posture.